Everyone in the office laughed when my boss mocked me for resigning at 58. He said I would never find another job because companies only wanted young people. I smiled, thanked him, and walked toward the exit carrying one old leather suitcase. The moment he asked what was inside it, his confidence disappeared. 5 minutes later, the entire company realized who actually held the power. The loudest laugh in my career came from my own boss. He looked directly at me after reading my resignation letter and joked that I was too old to survive without his company. Every employee heard him, and several people laughed nervously. I simply smiled, picked up my old brown suitcase, and thanked him for his wishes. As I reached the office door, he noticed the suitcase and asked what I was taking with me. I turned around, smiled again, and told him he would find out very soon. I had spent 29 years helping build that company from a tiny warehouse into a multi-million-dollar business. I joined when there were only 12 employees and personally designed many of the systems the company still depended on every single day. While executives came and went, I stayed loyal because I believed hard work would always be respected. Unfortunately, after the founder retired, everything changed. A new manager arrived with flashy ideas and absolutely no respect for experience. My new boss loved talking about innovation, but his version of innovation was replacing experienced workers with younger employees who accepted lower salaries. Every meeting included comments about energy, fresh thinking, and modern culture. Behind those words was one painful message: older employees were no longer welcome. Promotions stopped, appreciation disappeared, and decades of loyalty meant nothing. I watched friends quietly push toward retirement until eventually my turn arrived. One morning, my boss called me into his office and casually suggested that perhaps it was time for me to enjoy retirement before I became a burden to the company. I asked if my work quality had declined. He admitted it had not. Instead, he claimed the business needed a younger image. That single sentence convinced me my future no longer belonged there. I returned home that evening and made the most important decision of my life. For several weeks, I secretly prepared everything. I organized years of personal research, documented every system I had personally created, collected legal ownership records, proving several critical software tools belonged to me rather than the company, and packed everything carefully into one leather suitcase. My lawyer reviewed every document before I submitted my resignation. Nobody at work suspected that the suitcase contained far more than ordinary paperwork. On my final day, the office gathered to watch me leave. My boss could not resist making one final joke. He loudly wished me good luck finding another job at my age because nobody hired old men anymore. I thanked him sincerely, picked up my suitcase, and headed for the door. Then curiosity got the better of him. He asked what was inside. I calmly placed the suitcase on the conference table and opened it. Inside were signed intellectual property agreements, software licenses, development notebooks, patent applications, and legal contracts, proving that several core operating systems belonged entirely to me because they had been developed independently before the company ever claimed ownership. My lawyer walked into the room moments later with additional documents. Without those systems, production would stop within days. Silence filled the office as my boss slowly realized his careless arrogance had placed the entire business at risk. The company board called an emergency meeting that same afternoon. Independent legal advisors confirmed every document was genuine. Within 48 hours, my boss was suspended while the directors negotiated a licensing agreement with me. Instead of begging for another job, I became an independent consultant earning more money while working fewer hours. Several talented co-workers eventually joined my new consulting firm because they wanted leadership built on respect rather than humiliation. As I drove away carrying the same suitcase, I realized something valuable. Age had never been my weakness. Experience was my greatest asset. The people who laughed believed success belonged only to youth, but knowledge built over decades cannot be replaced overnight. My boss mocked my age because he underestimated my value. In the end, the suitcase never contained revenge. It contained proof that respect is earned through character and karma always arrives when arrogance believes it has already won. The truth always finds its way, and karma never forgets. If you enjoyed this story, please support the channel by liking this video, sharing it with others, and subscribing to Assembly Tutorial Stories. Press the bell icon to stay updated with every new emotional story we upload. I would love to hear your opinion, so leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the story. See you in the next video.